2025 Bear Legend 30. Let's see what this thing's about. Hello, welcome back to the YouTube channel. MFJJ here with PodiumArcher.com, looking at the Bear Legend 30. This is a price point bow in a growing configuration. And what I mean by that is there's a massive amount of draw length adjustability built into this bow. It goes from 18 to 31 inches, 14 pounds to 70 pounds, grows with a kid, can still give it to an adult and be a very functional bow. Coming in at $529.99. Really, honestly, pretty reasonable price, I think, in today's day when you start comparing things. And as equipped, which, mind you, it comes with a quiver. There's a bracket here. It's not on the bow, but it is $629 as equipped. Some of the things that you're going to see on this that you might not see on everything out there, one is an actual roller guard on your cable slide, which is a little bit of an upgrade from a standard plastic slide. Integration. This actually has a rear mount and a front mount integration in it for $529. That's pretty bonkers, and for a package at $629 to include all these things is very, very reasonable. Definitely something to look at if you're on the entry level of things or looking at new products that are price point oriented. But let's measure some of this stuff out. So let's put it on the scale. So that's actually really close to spot on for length here. I would say it's a quarter long. It's 30 1/4 for that. So our riser length is a 30-inch bow. Riser length. Measuring out at just over 25, maybe 25 1/4. Reflex geometry. Again, trying to get it to hold here when you have equipment on here sucks, but okay, so we're going to drop that down to there. So I'd give that reflex geometry about 2 3/4, which is a lot. Loadout point, what you're going to feel like on your string angle. Measuring up about 31 3/4. Let's check what that weight was. Check the physical weight of the bow. Mind you, it's got all the parts on it, so we're going to have to estimate that out. And check the actual brace height and axle to axle. So weighing out at like 4.5 dressed. So that very well could be easily, let's see, take this off. I could definitely put you at 3.9 with nothing on it for sure. If I take this off, that'll just be the sight and the quiver, or the sight and the rest. Come on, that's the longest thing there. 4.3. Yeah, I bet you that's pretty darn close. I'd say that's probably a 3.9 pound bow, which is light. You know, if you're looking entry level stuff, a lot of these entry level bows, because the risers are kind of short, are relatively light. They don't have a ton of energy, so they're not going to vibrate all that much. So we'll put you in at 3.9. Circle that. Let's check our brace height and our axle to axle. So 6 and, so we're going to the back. So 6 3/8. Yeah, that's what they call it. So that's accurate. How's our axle to axle? So your side of the axle. Gosh dang, I hate that. 30 1/4 it looks like. Yeah. So a little long on that, accurate on the brace. 30 1/4. Okay, I guess it's time to shoot this thing. All right, so our testing now, we're shooting through 2 different chronographs just so we have a variable of options so people can't say there's something wrong with my chronograph. We also have a decibel meter that will measure how loud this bow is. We only do that on the really light arrows, which reminds me I need to grab, they're still here. So we do that on those, and then we will shoot 350s, 450s, 650s. We'll reset this at 28 inches and shoot 450s through it at 28 inches to give you an idea what a short draw length is going to do. So without further ado, let's shoot some 350s. Okay, here we go. .301, 300. All right, number 2. Here we go. .304, 299. So still like an average of 301. Oh, wrong arrow. Here we go. All right, so that's going to be an average of 301. And what'd you get there? 80.5. Okay, 301 and 80.5. Okay, now I can talk with a normal level of voice and comment on how the bow feels and things like that, but the decibel meter is off. All right, so this is a 450 grain arrow. I will tell you that you could audibly tell this bow was quite a bit louder than the last one we tested, and the meter measured it. You could see it. Okay, 450 grains. 265, 269. The bow does draw fine. There's no issues there, but you know, a bow that has the speed that this has should draw fine because it should pull pretty darn easy. So that was an average of 267 on that one. .269, 270. So I'll give that a 270, 267, 268. So we're going to call it 269 right now. And this will be your determiner. .270. All right, so we'll call it 269 for the average of everything. And we'll shoot these heaviers. We'll go ahead and shoot 3 of these. What is it? What do they call them? Adult arrows, I believe they call them. These 650 grain bone breakers. .230. 231. 230, 231. 228, 229. So 230 it is on that one. So 269 and 230. We'll go reset this at 28 and shoot it again. All right, 28 inches. 450 grain arrows. 70 pounds. See how she goes. It's always funny to me how much easier it is to pull at a shorter draw length. 251. Then 245.7 through the Garmin. .244, 243. I'd give it a total of 245 right now. Let's see what these do. 245 it is. All right. Take this down here. Okay. So it's 245 at 28, giving you a difference of 12 feet per inch. So you should be able to math that out on any of these speeds and get a real idea, if you have a different draw length, what it's going to be at. It should be relatively close. So this bow put out 301 foot a second at 30 inches at 350 grains. 300 is a 5 for speed. Now, I know that might seem harsh on some of these measurements, but these are trying to compare everything equally at every price point and every scale. And speed-wise, that's really close to, it's actually faster, 7 feet faster than the Adapt Plus was, and 5 feet slower than the Pro 320. So in that price point, it's right in there for what it should be. Features, having a front mount and integration, sorry, wrong one. Features, riser dampeners, does have more than one stabilizer threaded position. In fact, it's got 3 rear mount options. It's more than you're going to see on most bows of this price point. It does have an interchangeable grip. So I'll give you a 2 for features because you're not really packing a whole bunch in there, but you are doing something. Tunability is split yoke on the top, so this is kind of like a hybrid cam. Very low, like there's very little you can do with this bow. You can't adjust the cable guard. You can adjust some shims and yokes. I'll give you a 3 on tunability. But once again, these numbers are not going to be a high on an economical bow because they take features out of an economical bow. Integration. There is a front mount and rear mount, and on a price point bow such as this, no one have I seen that on. So I'll give you a 5 on integration. Honesty. You said your bow was 320 foot a second. It shoots 301. You said your draw length was 30. It's 30 1/4. Your weight was spot on, your brace height was spot on, your ATA is 1/4 long. It's not like a massively critical thing or anything like that, but I think this is a bit fluffed, so I'm probably going to give you about a 6 on honesty. Feel. The bow does feel very good for what it is. There's some vibration in it for sure. I'd give it a middle of the road. It's not an aggressive bow, so it's not like the draw force curve's real comfortable. You're not getting anything that's like hard to break over or anything like that. So I'll give you a middle of the road 5 on feel. Design / forgiveness. There's a lot of reflex in this bow and the riser is relatively short. I would venture to say with its design, it's not going to be a very forgiving bow. So I'm going to probably give you like a 4 there. Value, to offer a front and a rear mount integration on an entry-level bow like this at $529, which that is, as sad as it is to say, $529 does tend to be about where bows are starting from anymore. There's a few that are below that, but not a lot. I think that's a pretty good value. I'm going to give you a 4 on value, especially with the $100 kit that you're offering. That's actually a really nice little setup for $100. So if you're like a noob and just getting into it, their package, it's like you're not going to buy those parts and do something better. Sound, we were in 80.5 decibels. That's the highest thing we've measured yet, so I'm going to give you a 1. And I would expect this to be one of the loudest bows we got this year. I'd be real surprised. Appeal and quality. There's a lot of machine cuts in here. There is a lot of work in this bow for the price of it. It's not an ugly bow by any means. It looks like it goes together relatively well, but it's a cheap pocket. We're dealing with a price point bow here. It's not going to be fancy, no frills, so we're going to give you a 2 there. All right, so let's see what we get here. 7, 10, 15, 20, 26, 30. I'm going to give you a 37. Now, like I said, folks, I don't expect anything to score above like 75 this year. It's a 100-point scale system. I expect there to be a lot more variance in between what's out there, and I wanted this on purpose so you could spread these things out a little bit more because they were all kind of combining in a very similar fashion. Comment on what you think about this, on how we're doing this. Maybe this is the dumbest thing I've ever done. Maybe it's great. I don't know. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of criticism. I always do. It doesn't seem to matter. I still keep doing it, and the majority of people appreciate what's going on. This is a bow that you can buy at your pro shop only. You can't go and buy this bow online. So go test this out down there. Give them a shout. See what you think about it. It is honestly a relatively nice bow for the money. I know that number doesn't sound huge when it's a total of 100, but it's not. This isn't pass-fail. A 0 would be bad. A 20 would probably be bad. A 37 for a bow that's $530 is actually a pretty fair number, really. So hopefully you like this system. Hopefully you like what you're doing. If you're going to buy something online, not this bow, because you can't But if you're going to buy something online, head on over to podiumarcher.com for those archery needs. $99 and up is free shipping. And use coupon code MFJJ to save you a little bit of money. Thanks for watching.